So, Master Chief, any other luck of making another Halo movie? Yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna make another science fiction Xbox game yet.
Hard to tell. I'm still waiting if they're gonna make another Halo game.
Well, I'm afraid they're too occupied of doing that other video game they made, created by the same people who have made a Halo called Destiny. Yeah.
Cannot believe they sell themselves out to other game products. And my game, Halo, became #1 on the chart.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's so.
And how's your video game doing, Crash? Is your brand new video game Sonic Force become a huge hit yet?
Hard to tell.
And what about you, Mario? Your Mario Odyssey, is that going pretty good?
Why don't you go, hit on your holographic girlfriend, what's her name?
Cortana!
Yes, Cortana. At least I have a princess, and I have a hedgehog girlfriend.
Well, easy for you, Sonic. Back then when they created your character, they wanted your girlfriend to be a human based on Madonna.
Thank goodness they didn't go along with that idea. It'll be like Howard the Duck all over again. Indeed. Whoa!
Are you alright?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Anyway, what's the agenda going on for the day?
What do you want, Laura?
I just had a call from one of the PlayStation icons. Even though he's no longer a part of PlayStation, but still. Ever since he saw the review of Tomb Raider, I got a call from him, and he wants me to talk to Multi-Voice Reviewer on doing a review about his video games. Oh yeah? What is it? Don't tell me it's Pac-Man. I mean, he stopped becoming an icon ever since the video game stock market crash. Or don't tell me... And don't tell me it's Sweet Tooth. I mean, I heard a lot about what happened to that psychotic clown. He's really off his rocker.
Or don't tell me it's, don't tell me that it is, Samus Aran.
Hey, she's in my company. Samus Aran belongs to the Nintendo world.
I know, and I wish she was in my universe. But sadly, she came out around the same time Nintendo became so popular. And besides, last time I want to hear is from an Italian plumber and a blue rodent.
Oh yeah, Spaceman?
Yeah!
Oh yeah? Well, if I have my fire flower, you're gonna be tasting some really spicy, fiery meatballs from me.
Why don't you bring it on there, Italian plumber?
Guys, will you knock it off? Honestly, you're really bloody ignorant every time when you guys go into a fight. It's none of them. It's not Samus, and it's not Pac-Man or Sweet Tooth. Even though I am surprised that Sweet Tooth is still belong to PlayStation. But anyway, it turns out it's him. The orange animal who goes by the name of Crash. Crash Bandicoot? Him? Why isn't he here in the first place?
Yeah. I mean, since he is one of the icons, why isn't he here instead of you? Compared to these losers.
Why don't you watch what you're saying or I'll punch your lights out?
Bring it on, old man.
Oh, I show you what old man... Guys, knock it off! Anyway, the reason why Crash Bandicoot is not here, because he's still busy working. Making more video games for the fans. So he's quite busy, unlike me. That's why he wanted me to become an icon instead of him. He's just too busy going to other places. Besides, he is from Australia.
Okay, Laura.
Okay, alright. Call multi-voice reviewer. Tell him to review Crash Bandicoot. Okay, thank you. Yeah, what is it? So you want me to review Crash Bandicoot? Alright, I'll do it. Hey everyone. Well folks, this is all you've been waiting for. My review of Crash Bandicoot. And let's get started, shall we? Crash Bandicoot. What can you say about this little rodent? Actually, what can you say about this little rodent? As it turns out, that, some video game company who goes by the name of Naughty Dog wanted to create a video game character. And, trying to create an animalistic character who is... that nobody never even heard of. Unlike Looney Tunes, who created Tasmanian Devil, and the Sega, who made Sonic the Hedgehog, and those are two animals not many people never even heard of: the Tasmanian Devil and the Hedgehog. But did you know he didn't start it out as a Bandicoot when they first made him? Believe it or not, they made the villain first before they made the character. At first, they wanted to make the villain who is kind of like Brain from Pinky and the Brain. Gee, Brain, what gonna do tonight? Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. But make him... have a personality like Brain, but also act a little bit like one of the weasels from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And then when they were about ready to make the character, at first, they were going through a lot of ideas. Universal Production, who made a partnership with Naughty Dog, they decided to, they didn't want to make him to be Crash Bandicoot. They want him to be Willy Wizzy Wombat. Or Willy the Wombat, for short. But, due to copyrights, in the cartoon series called Tasmanian Devil, or the cartoon Tasmania, there was already a character named Willy the Wombat. So, they scrapped the idea of making Willy the Wombat, but there is a Sega Saturn video game they made called Willy the Wombat, which I'll tell you about that sooner or later. But anyway, they were going through a lot of animals in Australia and trying to find an animal that not many people never even heard of. I mean, they either go with a wombat or a dingo or maybe even a koala. But they came across this animal, which is really adorable and exactly what it implies. They decided to stick with the Bandicoot. This here is the real animal of the Bandicoot. Related by the, sort of related to the kangaroos. It is pretty adorable, I have to say. And then they try to think up a name for him. And since the character Crash, he crashes through boxes, so therefore they thought up the name Crash Bandicoot. So therefore they finally made this game. Crash Bandicoot. Sorry I don't have the booklet on it. I kind of lost the booklet, but at least I printed it out here. This is Crash Bandicoot. Now the premise of the story is like this. There is an evil mad scientist who lives in Australia who wants to create an army of animal-like minions, and he turned all these Australian animals into his army, And so when he got to Crash Bandicoot, the operation was a failure, and therefore Crash Bandicoot escaped. And now he's going through his entire adventure battling against evil Nero Cortex and trying to save his girlfriend named Tana. Her name is Tana. And she's the only character who appeared in this game. And believe it or not, they based her out of Pamela Anderson. Seriously, I'm not kidding. They based Crash Bandicoot's girlfriend from Pamela Anderson. The big bushy blonde hair and the raconteur that she has. 90s. Anyway, Tana was the only character who appeared in this first game, and then they totally forgot about her because she thought she was a bit too much. I mean, it was supposed to be made for kids. And believe it or not, the intro of the video game, at first they wanted to make the intro be sort of cartoony like Tasmania. I mean, be kind of cartoony like Tasmania. But instead, I mean, they did the intro and the ending that it was really cartoony. But after that, they decided to make it 3D since it is a PlayStation video game. They scrapped the cartoon intro and ending and just slap in the 3D intro and ending. But you can look at the cartoon intro and ending on YouTube. It's there, and I seen it. Looked alright. But as Crash Bandicoot got really popular, they made this sequel. Again, lost the booklet, but I printed out the picture.
Crash Bandicoot 2. Cortex Strikes Back.
In this one, it's about when Cortex had been defeated in the first game, and he landed in one of the caves. In the first game, you're supposed to collect gem in order to defeat Cortex and his machine. And now in the sequel, he found something that's a lot more powerful than gems, and it's crystals. And since he didn't have enough enemies, and of course he has a new henchman named Dr. N-Jin, you know, that short scientist with a rocket on his head, and voiced by Peter Lorre. Peter Lorre is the icon of insanity. And of course they introduce another character, and it is Crash Bandicoot's sister, Coco. She's a computer nerd who always goes through the internet with her laptop, and she starts figuring out things from the evil scientist Cortex, and discovered that he was about to create a new machine called Cortex Vortex. Oh yeah, and another thing in the game, throughout the game you have this help from this tiki mask flying around, goes by the name of Uka Uka. And just like on Mario, when you grab a star and you're indestructible, in Crash Bandicoot you grab 3 of the Uka Uka masks, and then you be indestructible that you can just walk through everything. But you better watch for the cliffs. You're not that indestructible. Oh yeah, and the 3 stars on Sonic. When you hear the theme song, ba 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 bum. Of course, in Crash, it's drum playing. Well, it's a lot more difficult than how I play in the theme song from the first game. I always go like this. Anyway, I remember my brother and I, we played Crash Bandicoot 2 dozens of times, more than the first game, even though I'd rather play the first game so I can be in order. And throughout the game, you go through these different places collecting crystals, and then they end the game where you're battling against Cortex in space. And I don't know what those fruits are. I mean, I used to know the name of those fruits that they put in the show in the game. I mean, I thought they were peaches, but actually they're something else, something from Australia. Anyway, after the dealing with Crash Bandicoot in space from Cortex Strikes Back, they finally made a brand new game, and it is
Crash Bandicoot Warp!
Yeah, I got the book on this one. In this one, unlike the second game where you go into space battling against Cortex, this one you time travel. And of course there's 2 new enemies. Unlike Crash, who has Aku, who is the tiki mask of all that is good and decent, he has an evil brother named Uka, and he's really peed off at Cortex for losing the gems and the crystals. So now, Uka, with the help of another mad scientist, who goes by the name of Dr. Engine, who time travels. So now, throughout the game, with the help of Coco, Crash's sister. Oh yeah, and there's also a hidden character who goes by the name of Fake Crash or Trash Bandicoot. He looks like Crash Bandicoot, but he has buck teeth and bushy eyebrows. And of course, in the game, sometimes when you beat certain levels of the game, you get that famous dance that I learned from the game. I always remember that dance. Anyway, Crash Bandicoot Warp became a huge success. And Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot Warp were the most memorable Crash Bandicoot games ever made in the 90s. Until they decided to make other kinds of games. This one was a little similar to Mario Kart. Hang on a sec. They decided to make this game be similar to Mario Kart, which is pretty fine, although I'm not into racing games. But this one was pretty fun. This one is called
Crash Team Racing!
It's like a Crash Bandicoot version of Mario Kart. And it turns out there is this evil alien who wants to conquer the world, so he challenged Earth's great people to challenge him in the race. So he challenged Crash Bandicoot and Nero Cortex. And the racing game was pretty fun. And then they made this new game, and it's, again, trying to challenge against Mario. They decided to make like a Mario Party-like Crash Bandicoot game, and it is
Crash Bash!
In the game, you choose to play in Crash Bandicoot's team or Cortex's team to see which is better, believe it or not. Then after this game, I mean, some people would think this game is kinda but entertaining nonetheless. And of course, that was pretty much it for PlayStation 1, because after that, they haven't been making any PlayStation games lately. Until when PlayStation 2 came out, they decided to go up the ante by making a brand new Crash Bandicoot PlayStation 2 game. And this was the first PlayStation 2 Crash Bandicoot game they made. I don't have it because lost interest of Crash Bandicoot since I had PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2, I was more interested in vampire games. Like Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, and Soul Weaver, and Castlevania. Among other games. But this one I see my brother played it. And it is
Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex.
And believe it or not, they have this game in Xbox and also in GameCube. In this game, Crash Bandicoot discovered that Cortex is back along with Uka Uka, but this time, Uka Uka summoned these 4 evil other Tokimask who are called the Elementals. They have elemental powers, and also, Cortex was working on a project of his own Bandicoot named Crush Bandicoot. But it turns out he was under Cortex's control, so at the end of the game, they snapped him out of it, and now he's a good guy. Why don't they ever have an evil Bandicoot in the game who stays evil? But anyway, some people kind of complain over the Wrath of Cortex of Crash Bandicoot, but it is an entertaining game nonetheless. Sometimes I do feel like I'm kicking myself. Why not I ever played this game when I had PS2? But instead I decided to get the Angel of Darkness instead. And since Crash Bandicoot became more of a sellout to other game systems, that's when they finally made their first Crash Bandicoot The Huge Adventure in Game Boy Advance. Sadly, I don't have a Game Boy Advance myself, but this was one of the best Game Boy Advance version of Crash Bandicoot. Heard a lot of great things about it. And it was so good that they decided to make a sequel of it for the Game Boy. And this one involves an evil alien who looks like a human egg. And it's called Crash Bandicoot 2 Enchanted. Or something like that. I never could get some of the words right, you know? What is it with aliens and mad scientists to Crash Bandicoot, huh? I mean, what is it? I don't get it. And then they made this video game for PlayStation 2. And this one is another racing game. And it's called Crash Bandicoot Nitro Kart. Another racing game from Crash Bandicoot, huh? And then Game Boy decided to do a little switcheroo. You see, they decided to do a video game, but it's on the Game Boy Advance, where Crash Bandicoot teams up with the famous video game dragon of all, Spyro the Dragon. Now, I wasn't much of a Spyro the Dragon fan. I hardly play any of their games. So, if you want me to review Spyro the Dragon, I just don't have enough interest for me to review it. But when Crash Bandicoot and Spyro teamed up, they decided to switch each other's worlds in this video game they made. Now, this one I printed out as a 2-pack one. Something that I think I would have. This one is called Crash Bandicoot Purple and Spyro Orange, where Crash Bandicoot is in Spyro's world, and Spyro is in Crash Bandicoot's world. So Crash Bandicoot is battling against Spyro's arch nemesis, while Spyro's battling against Nero Cortex? Interesting. And then there was another one they made, and this one was definitely for PlayStation 2. This is like, what if Crash Bandicoot has to team up with his arch nemesis? So, without further ado, they decided to make this video game, and it's called Crash Twin Sanity, where Crash Bandicoot and Neocortex are forced working together against an evil alien, and of course it turns out there's an evil Bandicoot from a 10th dimension. Great, now alternate dimensions? Sheesh. I might be interested in trying that out. Just thinking. And then another Crash Bandicoot game they made for PlayStation. And they say this was the best Crash racing game they made, called Crash Tag Team Racing. Like, what if Crash is behind the wheel and you have somebody on the back seat firing their cannons and such, setting traps. And this, everybody says this was the best racing Crash game ever made, along with other racing games, but I can't tell. I mean, I'm just not big on racing. I'm not really into any sports video game. It's just not me. The only sport I got into was wrestling, but it was a phase I went through. Yeah, my phase was wrestling.
Although I could do Hulk Hogan there, brother. Ooh yeah, and Macho Man Randy Savage. Step into a Slam Jam.
And then everybody got really peed off on this game that they made in Nintendo DS, and this one was more like a Mario Party version of Crash Bandicoot, and they made this one, Crash Bandicoot Boom Bang. And the only Mario Party I got was Mario Party 2. Never had the first one. And now they decided to make a brand new Crash Bandicoot video game with a new style and a new look. And it's for all the game systems. And it was called Crash of the Titans, where now Crash Bandicoot has a brand new look, and so does Uka Uka and Aku Aku. Neocortex still looks the same. But they also have a new bad guy, well, bad girl in the game now. In this game, Neocortex has an evil niece who goes by the name of Nina Cortex. So they finally create a bad girl in this game. And when Crash got really so popular, they decided to make an app game that you can download into your iPad or iPhone or even in your Android tablet, called Crash Bandicoot Nero Kart 3D. This one, you can just download it on your iPhone or iPad or app. Why don't they ever make any adventure games and no sports racing game? It's just not me. And then they made the sequel of the Crash of the Titans when they made this, Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutants, where Neocortex is turning the animals into mutants, and Crash is the only one who can stop them. And I didn't care much on the new look on Crash Bandicoot. They removed the fingerless gloves and just gave him tattoos in the back of his hand. I always thought that was silly. And then they made another app game, Crash Bandicoot Nitro Kart Part 2, another app game that you can download and play. And ever since Spyro the Dragon had been remastered and renewed and made this new game system called Skylander, where you can buy these little figurines and put them in these little portals so you can play them. Well, now they have Crash Bandicoot and Neocortex appear in Skyrim. This is the figurine, and you can also find the figurine of Cortex, and you can play Skyrim as Crash and Cortex in this Skyrim game. Me, I'm not really interested in playing video games where I have to buy figurines so I can play them. Heck, I wasn't even interested in Disney Infinity or even Lego Dimension. But I saved the best for last. Now this one I was really interested in, and I wish I had it. They decided to bring back Crash Bandicoot in all his glory. So therefore they decided to do a remake, unlike the Tomb Raider anniversary they made. Oh yeah, and I also hear they're making a remake of Tomb Raider 2, but call it Dagger of something. They made a demo, but they're planning to have it out on cartridges. But anyway, this one is for PS4, Xbox One, and that in-snap thing. And it is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. This one is a renewed and remastered. I don't know about you, but if I get a PS4 at works this time, I might be able to buy this game and try it out and have a little trip down memory lane. And that is Crash Bandicoot for you folks. When would Crash Bandicoot ever end? Who knows? Hey! Who say that?
Hey, me Taz here. Multi-voice reviewer. Taz want to be video game character.
Sorry, Taz. I mean, I'm trying to do some research on the video games of you, but it's going to take me a lot of time and a lot of effort for me to do a review of all the video games of you, since some people would like to play video games with you in it.
No. Taz want to be video game character. Taz want to be member of council. Taz want to be video game character. Not you review. Not multi-voice reviewer review. Taz video game character.
Sorry, I can't help you on that one. You better take it to the council. They're the ones who make the decisions. And besides, you're more of a cartoon character. You came out as a cartoon character before you became a video game character.
Now Taz is really mad. What? Taz still mad at you.
Tell you what, Taz. How about I would do a review of you, Taz. If I get enough information, maybe enough video games, and enough pictures, I might be able to do a really good Tasmanian Devil review. I mean, since I already did the Looney Tunes, I guess it wouldn't hurt for me to review Tasmanian Devil franchise. I mean, what do you say, buddy?
Taz like it. Taz like you review me. But I still want to eat you.
Hey, Taz, look! A delicious deer!
What? This is deer? Where?
Whatever there. Go get it!
Ooh, Taz love deer.
Finally, that's out. Oh. Hi, Laura. Whoa. I was almost about ready to shoot him. How did you outsmart that animal? One thing you should learn about Tasmanian devils, Laura. Even though they are wild animals, they are extremely stupid, and they can easily be distracted. You should let me go for my guns, and I would have shot him. Yeah, well, you overlook one thing. Tasmanian devil, he's not like other animals you dealt with. He's a toon. So if you go for your guns, it would just make him mad, and it wouldn't affect him. I mean, seriously. Guns had no effect on cartoon characters. I mean, have you ever seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit? No, can't say I have. Boy, are you missing out. So, folks, if you like this review of Crash Bandicoot and this whole mess-up going on here, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And as for me, I don't know. After what I heard from Laura Kraft, it's up to you, folks. Do you want me to review the whole franchise of Tasmanian Devil, or review Who Framed Roger Rabbit? And it's up to you, folks, to decide. So, any of you who want me to review Who Framed Roger Rabbit or review Tasmanian Devil franchise, leave a comment down below. And as for me, I'm out of here.